Selected to receive. So that Wisconsin defense, which is so impressive, will be on the field first. This is the first meeting between Kent State and Wisconsin. And the third Power 5 opponent already for Kent, and another tough environment for them to manage here today as we're underway. And Jamal Parker lets it sail over his head. And Kent will have it at the 25. We say hi to the ESPN2 audience. We're in Madison, Wisconsin. Unfortunately, TCU and Iowa State in a weather delay in Ames, so you're going to get to see undefeated and 8th-ranked Wisconsin taking on 2-2 Kent State out of the MAC. Alongside Ryan Leaf and Paul Carcaterra, I'm Clay Matvick, and you're looking at Dustin Crum, the starting quarterback for Kent State. He has looked real good in his 3 starts this year. Starts out of the gun, wants to throw on first down, and immediately Wisconsin in the backfield to wrap him up. Noah Burks, the outside linebacker, with the stop.
Yeah, Kent State's going to try to tempo here. It's hard to do that when you're getting sacked and put behind the sticks here, but Noah Burks, that whole defensive line and the linebacker position has been strong this season.
The nation's #1 defense. As Cavius Price gets in the backfield with Crum. A lot of pre-snap motion for this Kent State bunch. Crum looking to throw again. Able to step up out of the pocket and pick up a couple of yards. Wisconsin allowing only 192 yards and just 7.3 points per game. They haven't allowed a first-half touchdown this year.
They've been absolutely suffocating for opposing teams. And that just builds confidence offensively when they get the ball.
Taking a deep shot as Crum has a receiver open, and a great catch in the secondary by Mike Kerrigan, but he couldn't hold on to it. Kerrigan had it and lost it, and it's going to be 4th down.
Playing just a little trail technique, and he gets there. May have gotten there a little early, but you got to catch that football when you get an opportunity like that in this type of football game.
Kerrigan, one of their dependable receivers. Can't make the big play. Jack Dunn back to return this punt from Derek Adams. Wisconsin forced Northwestern to punt 10 times last week. And Dunn will call for the fair catch at the 31-yard line. We talked about Jack Cohn, a Long Island, New York native. He is 6-2 as the Badgers starter, completing almost 74% of his passes. He's been real efficient. Against Michigan, he led 5 touchdown drives. Was 13 of 16 passing for 128 and a couple of touchdown runs. So Wisconsin will start from the 32-yard line. Away from center. Cohn wants to throw on first down. Wide open receiver close to midfield. That is hauled in by A.J. Taylor. The Badgers' leading pass catcher this year.
This is what we were talking about in the pregame, Clay. The ability to throw the football, especially on first down. Play action fake, sets his feet, gets it out just in time. Wide receiver does a great job separating from the defensive back for a first down.
21-yard pickup for the senior from Kansas City, and just like that, the Badgers into plus territory. 4th of 5 straight home games for Wisconsin. They host Michigan State next week. First touch for Jonathan Taylor. And statistically, one of the best college running backs of all time. Only 4 games into his junior season, he has racked up some amazing numbers, Ryan.
The quietest 2,000-yard season I think I've ever heard of a year ago, right? Not a Heisman Trophy candidate. 2,000 rushing yards. It's just been kind of glossed over. He's reaching almost 5,000 yards in 2.5 seasons here at Wisconsin.
Taylor again. Spins away from the defensive end and steps inside the 40. Out near the 38-yard line, about a yard short of a first down. Lawrence Burke is going to be credited with the stop. So it'll be third down and short.
We talked to Tom Kaufman, the defensive coordinator for Kent State, and his thought process around containing Jonathan Taylor was all about funneling everything inside and not letting that speed bounce outside for big plays.
And we're going to get a timeout called here by Kent State. 3rd and 1 coming up for the Wisconsin Badgers on their opening series here in Madison. And Paul Christ, a couple of guys who know each other real well. For more on that, let's go down to Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Clay, Sean Lewis was a player at Wisconsin, and one of his mentors at the time was offensive coordinator Paul Christ. So when Lewis wanted to get into coaching, he called Chris, and Chris said, there are smarter things to do with your time than getting into coaching. And then finally he transitioned and said, listen, Sean, if you want to get into coaching, make sure your head, your heart, and your butt are in the same place, and people will notice. And guess what? People are noticing. This kid is the youngest coach in FBS. And I say kid because he's 33 and I'm 44.
He's young to a lot of us, Paul. Thanks a lot. And Chris said he was very, very proud of Sean Lewis, a one-time understudy. As you can see, Taylor picks up the first down on this opening series for Wisconsin.
Yeah, there's something about a kind of a brotherly father figure in Paul Christ. He was my tight ends coach in San Diego my first couple of years, and it was great seeing him yesterday, and I love the comments he had about Sean Lewis.
Lewis already with 2 wins this season for the Golden Flashes, equals last year's win total. Jack Cohn takes off on first down, and he's going to pick up about 7. He has been pretty good on his feet when they've needed him to run.
When asked to do those things, when you're going to drop 7 or 8, which is unusual for Wisconsin to see, you have to take those yards that they give you right there, and he does, puts them in a solid, second and short situation.
Garrett Groshek, the lone setback. And he'll get his first carry straight up the middle, and that's going to be another Wisconsin first down. Groshek, a guy they count on a lot behind Jonathan Taylor, a former walk-on quarterback, and he has turned into a very reliable running back.
Yeah, and more often seen in second and long and third down positions there, but there in a second and short, he's able to get the tough yards like Jonathan Taylor is as well.
Taylor's back in there now. They fake the handoff to him, and they will throw to Taylor out of the backfield. He has become such a good pass catcher. That is certainly being highlighted in his arsenal now. He leads Wisconsin with 3 touchdown catches.
He is, if he wasn't a weapon before, given the ball in a different way and be more diverse, I mean, that ability alone and what he's putting on film allows him at the next level to be coveted even more.
Gamble got him out of bounds. It was an 8-yard pickup, so 2nd down and 2, 8th play of the series. And it will be Taylor again, first down and more. Dances his way inside the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. Cepeda Phillips finally brought him down, but it's a first down for Wisconsin, 1st and goal.
Watch this move in the hole. Boop, makes him miss completely. Gets upfield, gets the big first down, sets up a red zone play.
A Doak Walker winner from a season ago. Pretty good chance he gets an invite to New York as a Heisman candidate. Bouncing it to the outside and essentially untouched going into the end zone for the first Wisconsin touchdown of the day. And the 12th on the season for Jonathan Taylor, which leads the country.
Special running back, and he did exactly what Kaufman didn't want to allow, and that's to kind of get inside and then bounce it to the outside where no one's going to catch Jonathan Taylor.
Colin Larsh with the point after. The sophomore from Marshall, Wisconsin, tacks it on. Good opening series for the Badgers. 9 plays, 68 yards in under 4.5 minutes. We saw Jonathan Taylor catch the ball, and we saw what he does best, run the ball in for another Wisconsin touchdown. Since 2014, the Badgers are 32-5 at home. And a big reason for that is the powerful ground game that they've had from year to year. And Jonathan Taylor, big part of their ground game this year.
Yeah, he's just another in a long line of great running backs. The difference this year, I really do believe, is Jack Coan and what he can do offensively. You saw it on the first play of that drive and that big pass for their first down.
5 straight first possession touchdown drives this season for Wisconsin, so they get out to another fast start here today. Zach Hintz to kick off. And again, it'll be a touchback. He's had 24 of those this year. Talked about the defense for the Badgers, #1 in the country. And watch these numbers as they scroll across your screen. They're allowing only 192 yards, just a little over 7 points per game. Third down defense is #1. So is the rushing defense. And we were talking with that man, Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator, yesterday. And he said all of the numbers we have start with the run defense being so good.
This defense stems from that stat perfectly.
Dustin Crum looking to throw on first down. He's being chased out of the pocket. Got out of 1 tackle, but he won't get out of 2. Zach Baum, who has been very disruptive this year from his outside linebacker spot, makes the tackle.
Now he's the prototypical Big Ten linebacker. He pursues after Jack Sanborn isn't able to get him down. Baum comes from the other side and is able to drag him down for the big sack.
Dustin Crum taking off on 2nd down and long, and he gets loose for a 1st down and more out to the 43-yard line. Faion Hicks, the cornerback, finally caught him.
It's going to be a lot of this today at the quarterback position. Great job of pulling it on the zone read and then finding some positive yardage down the football field. That might be one of the longest runs.
Kent State going with tempo. They get it to Isaiah McCoy. And, you know, when we were talking with offensive coordinator Andrew Sauter, he said we're going to try and go tempo as much as we can. We don't think Wisconsin has seen a lot of that this year.
Yeah, he wants to try things that they just haven't seen the entire year and give them a different look. That's all you can do when you're preparing for the #1 defense in the country.
Xavier Williams, sophomore scat back with that carry. Let's bring up 3rd down and short. And Kent State's been very good on 3rd down this year, 44%. That's first in the MAC. But again, they haven't seen a defense quite like this yet this year. Joshim Bangda checks in as the running back, running sidecar to Dustin Crum. Play clock inside of 5. Off to Bangda. He's got plenty of real estate for the 1st down. Sheds a tackle and gets to the 35-yard line. 1st down, Kent State. An impressive run for Joshim Bangda, the prize signee from the last recruiting class for Kent State.
Just a wonderful play call there, Clay, to get out leverage outside the defensive end for the 1st down.
Play action, penalty flag down. Crum is out of the pocket. He'll throw, and it's complete to McCoy, who takes a pop along the near sideline from Reggie Pearson, the redshirt freshman. We'll see what the flag's about.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains 1st down.
Sometimes the tempo for Kent State works against them. There you see defensive coordinator Jim Leonard of Wisconsin in his 3rd year, just 36 years old. Former walk-on here, then had 10 great years in the NFL after some All-American seasons as a Badgers safety. Doing a great job with this defense, and they get another hit on Crum in the backfield. This time it's number 57, Jack Sanborn. These linebackers are absolutely ferocious, Ryan.
Yeah, they fly all over the football field. You have Bond, Orr, Sanborn, and Burks, all of them making big plays. Gets pressured up the field, does a good job of trying to escape, but Sanborn jolly on the spot there for the big sack. I think they've been in the backfield all morning.
Bangda. He is hit shy of the line of scrimmage. And driven down by Chris Orr, the reigning Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Wisconsin had 14 tackles for loss last week in that win over Northwestern. We've already got 5 today. This is caught by Adam Dulka, the tight end. He's going to be wrapped up at the 40-yard line, a 15-yard shy of where he needed to get. And so now it's 4th down. There's another tackle for Chris Orr, the DeSoto, Texas native. You and I got a chance to talk to Orr yesterday. Just a great leader for these Badgers.
Yeah, they have a couple fifth-year seniors that are the leaders, and they've been in this program for a long, long time, and they're proving that worth and that experience this year.
Now they're going to march out Matthew Trickett, first-team All-MAC last season, for a 56-yard field goal attempt, trying to get on the board. Nope. Pooch punt. I'm going to try and pin Wisconsin deep, but the coverage team can't get down there fast enough. And it rolls into the end zone, and Wisconsin will have it at the 20, leading by 7. Just over 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Easy wins for the Nittany Lions, and Purdue right now just beat up. Just a ton of injuries for the Boilermakers. As Jonathan Taylor takes it on first down for Wisconsin, and those big bodies up front keep moving the pile for the Badgers. We'll see where they mark it. They're going to give him the 26-yard line. That line up front, Ryan Leaf, all Wisconsin natives, and big as always here at Wisconsin. They lost 4 starters from last year, including a couple of All-Americans, but they might even be better than they were a year ago.
And I think they are. I think they've been able to gel much quicker in the preseason and then what's led into this season. They are a special O-line. That was the definition of Paul Chryst and that 5-headed monster of theirs.
Deep handoff to Taylor. He's got the first down. He's shedding tackles, sneaking his way across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Nick Faulkner, the outside linebacker, brings him down. It is a big gain. And another first down for Wisconsin as we go down to Clark.
You know, you talk about the offensive line, Ryan, for Wisconsin maybe being better than a year ago with 4 new starters, but what impresses me the most, their athletic ability. These guys are all over 300 pounds, but the right side of the line, starting with the center, Tyler Biadasz, basketball player in high school. Seltzner was a basketball player. Bruss was a basketball player. These guys have feet.
Cone airing it out. And just off the fingertips of Quintez Cephas, who has been a big addition to this wide receiver core.
He's the most physical, but also the most explosive wide receiver for this football team. And we get a little bit of an example here, and he kind of uses his hands to push away a little bit. Ball goes off the tips of his fingers, and he can't make the grab. Big games when they play Ohio State here in 3 weeks. You got to be able to come down with those balls in those big moments.
See, he's averaging almost 17 yards per catch. There's Taylor again. Gets across the 45 down at the 46. It's going to be 3rd down for Wisconsin. Quantrez Knight, strong safety. The Maryland transfer got him down to the turf. Wisconsin on 3rd down, Ryan, has been very good, over 47%. It's 28th best in the country.
Well, it's, you know, when you got a guy like Jonathan Taylor getting you almost 5-6 yards a pop, you're going to be in positions to convert on 3rd down.
Empty backfield. They'll bring Groshek back next to Cone now. Cone looking to throw. He'll find Groshek. And that's a 1st down. We talked about Taylor's ability to catch out of the backfield. Groshek has always had good hands. He's a former quarterback.
Yeah, former quarterback. I'll attest that we have the best hands out there. But what I'm impressed with Cone here is watch him go through his progression. He starts on the right, gets back to the left, knows where his check down is, and he gives it to him in a place where he can run with the football and get the first down.
Another very talented running back for Wisconsin checks in, Nakia Watson, redshirt freshman out of Austin, Texas. And they're going to feed it to him. Number 14 diving ahead for 3. I mean, there is certainly depth at that position for Paul Chryst.
How do you continue to go out and recruit in this manner? You know, when you have a great player like Jonathan Taylor there, you think, you know, it may be a few years before we find somebody else. But no, they just keep stacking them on top of one another, on top of one another.
Watson gets it again. And he'll get a couple more. To bring up 3rd and very manageable. UFC 243 tonight in Melbourne, Australia. Our main event on pay-per-view features the champ and hometown hero Robert Whittaker taking on the interim champ Israel Adesanya in the middleweight championship unification bout starting at 10. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/pay-per-view. Here's Taylor back in on 3rd down and 2. You see him in 3rd down situations a lot more now than you did the first couple of years because of his ability to catch passes. And of course his ability to do that, move the chains down to the 28-yard line.
This is just old-fashioned I formation, lead block by the fullback, and falling right behind by Jonathan Taylor. He takes the contact, still gets 8-9 yards down the football field, sets up first down.
Taylor today, 9 carries, 64 yards, a touchdown. And Wisconsin 3 for 3 on 3rd down. Taylor again. Another gaping hole on the left side. Phillips, the anchor of the linebacking core, brings him down, and that's going to be most likely the final play of the first quarter. And Wisconsin dominated time of possession as they have in every game this year. We'll talk more about that when we come back. 1 quarter here in Madtown in the books. Jonathan Taylor with a touchdown. Wisconsin leads it 7-0.
The college
Touchdown of the year is 12th total touchdown, 7-0 Wisconsin. They dominate time of possession. They're doing that again today. Coming into the day, 2nd best in the FBS at just under 37 minutes per game. Here's Cone on 2nd and 5, and it's complete to Jonathan Taylor. He is hit right at the line to gain. Excellent wrap-up tackle by Elvis Hines, the junior cornerback. And it'll make it 3rd down and 1. Hines came up and laid a stick on Taylor. Dropped him right there short of the first down marker.
It's got to be really freeing for Joe Rudolph, the offensive coordinator, to be able to get the ball in the hand of his best player on all 3 downs.
th play of the series. Taylor, first down, touchdown, Wisconsin. Excellent speed through the hole. And it's a 2-touchdown day for Taylor already here early in the 2nd quarter.
It's a really good look at Mason Stoke. Gets the big block and frees Jonathan Taylor to the outside. Another example of how he's able to bounce things when he can get there. And his speed just outruns everybody to the end zone.
Wisconsin 3 for 3 on 3rd downs on that drive. Another extra point for Larsh. And it's 14-0 Wisconsin.
Jonathan Taylor and the Wisconsin Badgers. Madness and Madison. 14-0.
Ryan Leaf, Paul Carcaterra back here at Camp Randall Stadium. 14-0 Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, a couple of touchdown runs here today. This is the second game against a MAC opponent for Wisconsin this year. They clubbed Central Michigan 61-0 in week 2, and the Badgers are well on their way to another big win here this afternoon. Zach Hintz has been doing this all season, kicking them through the end zone. It's a touchback. Let's go to the studio for an update with Kevin.
And Clay, we want to let you know the weather is passed in Ames. Max Dugan, former Iowa Player of the Year, set to lead TCU up against Iowa State. You'll see that game 2 p.m. Eastern here on ESPN2. By the way, OU-KU after a weather delay underway right now over on ABC. Clay?
Well, unfortunately, it's starting to rain here, too, in Madison. Not as hard as what they've seen in Ames. But it is raining a little bit, and it's going to increase, it sounds like, throughout the course of this game. That's Antoine Dixon wrapped up after the catch. I mean, look at how Wisconsin rallies to the football. That's a 6 or 7 yard pickup, but it doesn't take long before there's a lot of red jerseys around Dixon. Dixon lined up in the Wildcat. Now Crum comes back behind center. A lot of window dressing pre-snap. Crum getting some pressure off the edge. He's going to be sacked for the 3rd time. Zach Bond, the senior from Brown Deer, Wisconsin.
If you watch Zach get his foot in the ground and then dip and rip, very similar to another great player at defensive end here, J.J. Watt. His brother, the speed, Clay, that's what impressed me so much there. Just the speed getting by the offensive lineman.
And now I got a whistle, and the officials are going to confer. Kurt Johnson is our lead official here today. It's a Big Ten crew. Wisconsin had 5 sacks last week against Northwestern, already 3 today.
And a couple of them have just been just over the line of scrimmage, so they haven't been sacks. I mean, they could easily have.
The stoppage on the field is by the medical observer. Number 41 must leave the game for 1 play.
So this was called for from upstairs. Noah Burks is going to be asked to leave the field. Apparently, they saw Noah take a shot, and for his health and welfare, they want him to be looked at on the sideline. Now he got a bump to the head twice. Zach Bond, great pressure again, getting in the backfield, and it forces another incompletion. Checking Burks out on the Wisconsin sideline, and hopefully he's going to be okay.
Yeah, great job by the official up on top or the medical advisor to see that. That's to protect the player. Here's another example of Zach Bond just having his way with the right tackle there. Gets to the quarterback and makes him throw it before he wanted to.
Jack Dunn back to return for Wisconsin. This will be the 3rd punt already for Adams. 2nd 3 and out for Kent State. Fair catch at the 26. That's where Wisconsin will have it with a 14-0 lead. Fansville College football update brought to us by Dr. Pepper. American Revolution last night, Cincinnati whacking number 18 UCF. First American Conference loss for the night since 2016.
And then Cincinnati decided to troll UCF with a little animation on their content.
Auburn and Florida come your way at 3:30 Eastern today, and in the Pac-12 South pole position. And Arizona, Colorado going at it for some leverage in that division. That pass a little bit behind Nakia Watson, but he's able to make the catch at the 32-yard line. It's a gain of 6 yards for Watson.
Now, I talked to you this week, Clay, about what it's going to take for Jack Coan. Now, here, he does a great job play action fake, but when his first guy isn't open, his second guy comes wide open over the middle of the field, and he almost gets his ball intercepted. He's got to take what the prep has given him during the week, like the coaches said, and not overthink things in the football game.
That was the one criticism we heard from Paul Chryst about his quarterback, is they give it to Watson, and he's going to be about a yard short. Coan just needs to trust himself more. Chryst really likes his quarterback, but sometimes maybe he doesn't trust himself enough.
Well, I think it's more about trusting his prep. What he sees in film, applying that to the game. And there was an example right there. Instead of going through his progression, he simply tried to get to the running back and almost turned it into a big turnover.
Watson stays in the backfield as the rain starts to come down harder now. Coan under center on 3rd down and short. And they're able to move the sticks again. They are now 5 for 5 converting 3rd down. For more on the quarterback, Jack Coan, let's go down to Clark.
You guys are talking about the confidence of Jack Coan, and I spoke to his dad, Mike, prior to the season, and today again, he thinks Jack's in a great spot. He said the bowl game against Miami, the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City, was a turning point for him. He felt like that was the point in time where his team works a lot with Phil Simms in the offseason. They break film down together. He thinks Jack has emerged as a leader. And Ryan, you said trusting the prep. You combine the two, sky's the limit for this kid.
And one of the reasons Alex Hornibrook, a good quarterback in his own right, transferred away from Wisconsin was because of Jack Coan. That's a yard pickup for Wisconsin as we check in the studio with Kevin.
All right, Clay, the Cars.com matchmaker takes us back to Happy Valley. Penn State pouring it on against an undermanned Boilers team. Sean Clifford to Jahan Dotson, 72 yards. Second touchdown pass of the first quarter. Already 21-0 Penn State over on ESPN. Clay?
Penn State looking to stay undefeated. So is Wisconsin. 4-0 on the year and ranked number 8 in the country. Groshek will get it across the 45-yard line to the 46. And here comes 3rd down again for Wisconsin.
This Big Ten is starting to kind of form out with the way the Michigan came in and played. They have a huge test today against the Iowa Hawkeyes, and really to tell us if they're going to be a team that's going to compete, because we know Penn State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin have thrown their name in the hat.
And I think you'd say the same thing about Iowa. Big test for the Hawkeyes. Are they legitimate? They certainly look good through 4 games. A.J. Taylor goes in motion from right to left for Wisconsin. Coan throwing, and he is complete to Taylor. Taylor, a mature veteran out of Kansas City, will keep this drive going. As you talk about the Big Ten and the teams in the top 25, who's been most impressive for you?
Well, Ohio State by far, and then Penn State and Wisconsin, I think, and Iowa, the top four there. And I've been impressed with Minnesota, to be honest with you. Not in the top 25, 4-0.
Coan tried to go underneath to Groshek. Incomplete, 2nd down. Well, this week our Saturday night football game presented by Wells Fargo is a top 25 Big Ten battle. Michigan State, Ohio State from the shoe in Columbus. Some more questions will be answered after that one. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC and the ESPN app. Justin Fields, 23 touchdowns responsible for, that 2nd most in the country. At least 1 touchdown pass and at least 1 touchdown run in all 5 of his games. Taylor on 2nd down and 10. Around the left tackle. And he'll get about 5. Faulkner with the stop.
Going back to Justin Fields and your comments, that he just wasn't the right fit for Chaney's offense a year ago, playing in that Georgia offense, and now you put him in Ryan Day's scheme, and he has just gone gangbusters already through these first few games. The game against Nebraska last week really kind of showcased, I think, to the country what he's capable of doing.
I think you see a lot of similarities between Ohio State and this Wisconsin team. You can talk a lot about that Ohio State offense, but their defense is exceptional as well, and their offense feeds off the D.
Yeah, that matchup in the Horseshoe on October 26th is going to be a special one.
Cohn fires right at the sticks. It is Quintez Cephas, and he's got a first down to the 37-yard line. And Wisconsin now 7 for 7 on third down.
I mean, it's the way they run the football puts them in a position to do this and to be 100% on third down. It just extends drives, keeps the defense off the football field. And then when the opposing team comes out and you get them to go 3 and out, the offense doesn't even feel like they've ever gotten to a rhythm.
We're talking 15 minutes time of possession now for Wisconsin. Taylor right up the middle, bounces to the outside and gets to the near hash. Phillips, the inside linebacker, finally able to corral him. He is so elusive inside, jumping around, and now he is right on the precipice of another 100-yard rushing game, which would be his 10th straight.
He's a special individual. We got an opportunity to talk to him yesterday, and just the humility for such a great player, I think, just fits in so well here with the Wisconsin program.
And he did get a yard on that one. So Taylor diving down to the 30. That's 100 yards. 10 straight going back to last year. That's the longest active streak in the country. And now 27 of 32 games in his career, he's gone over 100 yards.
Yeah, he's in the long line of great running backs here at Wisconsin, but he's kind of putting a stamp on it himself and what he's been able to do. Special young man, special talent, continues to get better. I think that's the biggest defining factor.
And Nakia Watson. And that's going to be close to a first down for Wisconsin as we go down to Kark.
You know, Clay, he's so much more than just a football player, Jonathan Taylor. Really bright kid. Visited Harvard and Yale when he was in high school on recruiting trips. Follows and admires the famed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. A couple of years ago when I was doing a bowl game, he told me he got a telescope for Christmas. I mean, this kid is so balanced as a person.
He likes philosophy. He likes jigsaw puzzles. He's kind of an eccentric. As Mason Stockey, the fullback, converts a fourth down run for Wisconsin.
He's even got himself a Rubik's Cube lately, trying to
trying to figure that out.
Sharpen his mind through that process.
It's fun to watch the fullbacks here in front of Taylor at times, and Taylor even told you and I yesterday he loves seeing it when the other backs do well, especially those fullbacks.
Well, of course, because they do all the heavy lifting for him, you know, kind of clear his path, and then to see them get opportunities and make big plays, yeah, it makes him feel really good about that.
Another will-sucking drive for this Wisconsin offense. 14th play. This is a sweep to Kendrick Pryor, the junior from Hazel Crest, Illinois. And Joe Rudolph, the offensive coordinator, was talking about Pryor yesterday, saying we need to get this guy more touches. He is an electric player. He just hasn't had a ton of opportunities.
Well, it's hard when you run the ball so well. You don't throw it to throw it. You do it in sync in the schematics of your offense. But here's a way to run the football. You know, you almost play action and fake to Jonathan Taylor, and then you give it to Pryor on the end around, and he gets up, you know, gets 6 yards for him.
On second down at 4, Taylor. Boy, you could have driven a Volkswagen through that hole on the right side, and he pushes the pile inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. First down and goal to go, Badgers.
Offensive line play here. Seltzer and Bruss open up the hole, and then he bounces it to the outside as they get pushed down inside. And he just keeps those legs firing and gets them inside the 5.
And he'll stay in there. Almost a 9-minute drive right now for Wisconsin. Play fake. Cone has all kinds of time. That pass a little out of reach. Intended for Jake Ferguson, the tight end. Product of Memorial High School right here in Madison. Jamal Parker on that coverage, and now Paul Christ will consider what he's going to do here on 2nd and goal.
You know, sometimes when they drop back to pass, there's an uncomfortable feeling because they're so efficient running the football, and then you kind of see things not go the way they want it to in the passing game, and you're like, just, you know, continue to pound the ball and get out of here.
A couple of touchdowns already for Taylor. They feed it to him again. Walks in, touchdown. There is a marker on the near side of the field. And we'll see if this goes against Wisconsin and wipes out the touchdown. If not, it's a hat trick for Jonathan Taylor.
Offside. Defense, number 97, lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
They're giving Jonathan Taylor his carries here in the first half, and it's a good bet we don't see a ton of him in the second half.
Yeah, we probably won't see much of him in the second half, so he was 186 yards away from 3rd on the all-time list. He could get there if they get another drive opportunity.
Nine minutes on that drive. 17. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 119 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. He's got all of the points today. That's going to pad a Heisman resume. It's also going to bring him within 66 yards of 3rd on the all-time rushing list here in Madison, behind Melvin Gordon.
Look at that list. At a point, Monty Ball, Melvin Gordon, and James White were all in the same running back room at one point here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, this vaunted power run game, a signature at this university going back to when Barry Alvarez first took over the program. It's been dominant ever since. And yet another touchback. That's the 4th for Zach Hintz. Now we're going to step aside. Jonathan Taylor. How much more of him do we see today? Still to be determined. Not a bad bet at 15-1.
What's not like the others here? Chubba and Jonathan. It's become really a quarterback award. And if I were anybody out there, and you can get Trevor Lawrence at 75-1,
yeah,
let's go to the bank.
Especially when a month ago I think he was 2-1.
I told everybody to hold on that. Wait till it goes up.
Kent State has had no traction on offense. Chris Orr in the backfield again to spin down Dustin Crum. That's the 4th sack as we go to Kevin.
And Clay, coming up on the Army National Guard halftime report, we will check in on Oklahoma struggling in a place Oklahoma rarely struggles. Not that they struggle much at all. Plus Iowa, Michigan in the Big Ten. Busy day in the Big Ten. And a reminder, TCU ISU comes your way 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN2. Clay?
All right, Kevin, thanks. We look forward to that. Yeah, some weather in Ames today. We've had some weather here, just a little bit of rain in Wisconsin as Wisconsin calls a timeout with 2:52 to go before half. It was raining hard there for a while, but now it is back to a drizzle. So the nation's #1 defense talking things over with coordinator Jim Leonhard. Kent State trying to figure out how to score points against this D.
To be competitive just with his history.
Look at that Wisconsin drive chart. They have just dominated time of possession, especially on that last series, 17 plays. Here's Cone, all kinds of time, finds a wide open receiver, Kendrick Cryer. And he's out of bounds inside the 35-yard line.
Pryor does a good job crossing the field. They're playing zone. And he's open for quite a while. Cone finally gets him the football. He gets up the football field. I'd like to see him get out of bounds, and he does.
That's her 33-yard pickup. A quick strike to the outside. This is Cephas. And he's going to be just short of another first down. He's escorted out at the 25-yard line. Clock stops with 2:06 to go here in the half.
Coach Chris couldn't ask for anything more to get a 2-minute opportunity here, get Cone to come out on the football field and throw the ball in this situation because they're going to need it. They're not going to have all games where they're blowing everybody out. They're not going to play Michigan every week.
Did you put a little stick in the cage there to the Wolverine fans?
Yeah, well, they didn't show up very well here a couple weeks ago. We'll put it that way.
Wisconsin held the ball for 41 minutes in that game against the Wolverines. And it's Taylor, first down, weaving his way inside the 20 and down at the 17-yard line. Yeah, 2-minute exercise. So far, so good for Wisconsin with 1:34 to go before half. Now we get a timeout. Kent State. 15 first downs for Wisconsin here in the first half. Just 2 for the Golden Flashes as KJ Sherrill, the free safety, is shaken up.
It's kind of just a snapshot of what this season has been and what we looked at all week long. It's exactly that, right? They've dominated on time of possession, getting first downs, and then defensively, they've done exactly what we've seen all year long. They've been in the offensive team's backfield all day long. They've got off the field on third down, and they've stopped the run.
Sherrill off. And now here comes first down and 10 for Wisconsin. Rolling out. They hit Taylor. Free run to the end zone. Touchdown, Jonathan Taylor. 18-yard touchdown reception. His 4th score of the day.
Play fake here. Taylor just leaks out into the flat, and he gives him the ball in time where he can turn and get upfield, and he just outruns the Flash's defense for 6.
They got some 2-minute work in on that drive. The last series was 17 plays. This one a quick 4-play drive.
They took a good opportunity, and then when the opportunity presented themselves, they get the ball out to Jonathan Taylor in the passing game, something that they've really worked hard on all offseason. He's become a 3-down back. This has got to be so appealing to pro prospects because not only do you have to stop him on the run, but now you got to think of ways to stop him in the passing game, and that two-headed monster is going to be a problem here in the Big Ten.
Touchdown pass number 6 on the year for Jack Cone, who has looked cool and confident here in the first half today for Wisconsin. Taylor won the Doak Walker Award last year. Talked about him being a Heisman candidate. Well, he adds 4 touchdowns to his resume here in the first half today. This is a returnable kick for Kent State, and it's Jamal Parker leveled as he crosses the 10-yard line. So a long field for Kent State with 1:18 to work with as we go down to Clark.
Well, Clay, you mentioned Doak Walker Award winner a season ago. What do you do for an encore? Well, I spoke to Jonathan Taylor earlier in the season. He knew he had to be a better running back out of the backfield, catching the ball. Last year, 0 touchdowns through the air. This year, he's got 4 already. He wanted to put it on tape, but Paul Chris says it best. You got to get your best players involved, and having him on the field all 3 downs is critical, and this guy is just amazing.
That ball is knocked loose. Wisconsin says they have it. Let's see what they rule here.
They're going to rule him out of bounds, but they're going to have to take a look at this because it really looks like he jars the football loose before he hits the ground.
That was Rashad Wildgoose, number 5, a hard-hitting corner who knocked it loose. That was definitely a catch by McCoy.
The official's winding it as him being down before the ball comes loose, but I feel like it may have been coming loose here. Yep, that ball's out. Tremendous job of keeping the ball in play. And then, of course, this football team, and as Chris Orr talked about, everybody gets a piece. That's a fumble.
Rashad Wildgoose, sophomore out of Miramar, Florida, may have forced the first turnover of the day. Jack Sanborn, number 57, jumped on it.
My only...
Perhaps McCoy was out of bounds, had a foot out of bounds. But now we're getting a review.
The runner is down is under further review.
Yeah. You know, and honestly, when they look at what we saw, I think that this may be overturned.
The one thing I saw there at the end was when Sanborn was reaching for the football to gain possession, his foot may have been out of bounds, and that may be something they look at here as well. Now the football's out before his knee comes down. He's out of bounds, comes back in, doesn't establish himself in the play, and therefore knocks the ball back in. It will most likely go back to Kent State because of illegal touching on the part of Sanborn.
Our replay official is Tom Fiedler from the Big Ten. He is looking at what you're seeing at home. And we'll see if this is Kent State's ball or the first turnover of the afternoon.
And a great effort. I mean, amazing effort.
I think you're right, Ryan.
Yeah.
I think Sanborn was out of bounds and knocked it back in, or tried to force the direction of the ball back in toward the playing field. And when he was out of bounds, that makes it Kent State football.
Yeah. Didn't establish himself back in the field of play before touching the football. Wonderful effort. This defense just is everywhere, Clay.
After further review, there was no clear recovery by the player near the sideline. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands.
Kent State football, and they got it right.
They got it right, but there was clearly a clear recovery. Yeah, if they'd have turned that into 6 points right there, they would have scored more points this year as a defense than they have allowed on the entire season.
That's a first down carry for Joel Shaw. There have been so few first downs for Kent State here in the half. And now penalty flags come out late.
Personal foul, defense, number 18, unnecessary roughness. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
First penalty against the Badgers today. It's against Colin Wilder, transfer from Houston, who has been great in the Wisconsin secondary this year. Late hit on the quarterback.
I mean, you can't, when you're in that position you have him in the option, you have to go and make the tackle. He didn't do it maliciously. He didn't go at the head. Paul Chris not happy about the call.
That was the 4th first down pickup for Kent State. Then you tack on some penalty yardage too.
There is no option for a 10-second runoff. However, the offense does have the option to keep the clock stopped until the snap, which they have done so. The clock will start on my signal.
And there's 59 seconds remaining in the half. Dustin Crum, 4 of 6 passing, 20 yards, and he is going to be hit again. Zach Bond. And the ball came out. Ball bouncing around, bodies everywhere. That is sack number 6 for Wisconsin.
Zach Bond here again. Watch him dip and get around. It just moves his hands out of the way and then explodes when he gets past that tackle. He's just been a monster back there.
2nd down and 17. Crum complete. And immediately tackled is McCoy. Kent State coming off bye, but 2 weeks ago against Bowling Green, they racked up 62 points and 750 yards of total offense. But in this half, virtually nothing to speak of, because they are facing the best defense they're going to face all year. Great half defensively for the Badgers. Excellent half offensively for Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, 4 touchdowns. 3 on the ground, 1 receiving in the first half. First meeting between these two teams, all Wisconsin here on a rainy day in Madison. First Saturday in October. Very wet now here in Madison, Wisconsin. All-State Saturday kickoff. Alongside Ryan Leaf, I'm Clay Matvick. Paul Carcaterra is in a poncho down on the sidelines now. As you look at the 2 senior linebackers for Wisconsin, Chris Orr and Zach Bond. Very impressive first half.
Yeah, these two are prototypical Big Ten linebackers. You know, Chris Orr wasn't recruited by anybody. In fact, other Big Ten teams said he wasn't big enough. But Wisconsin was like, hey, we don't think that. We see you fly around. We see you go after the football. You fit in perfect here in Madison.
He's big enough. Maybe not as tall as other linebackers. He's just 6 feet, but he plays big.
And Jim Leonard, he'll tell you, hey, kid, don't worry about this height thing.
That's right. 5'8", he made an NFL career for himself. Short kick here as Wisconsin will have the football to start the second half. And they're going to have good field position, too, just short of the 40-yard line. Well, Jack Cohn, he's slinging it, brought to us by Sling TV. They got a free 2-minute drill in the end of that second half.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, right? A free 2-minute drill in a real game atmosphere where he's got to throw the football. They exhibited the ability to score on long drives and then on a short one by throwing the football. Lastly to Jonathan Taylor for the 6 to end the half.
10 for 13, 119 and a touchdown for Cohn. And he'll hand it off to Jonathan Taylor. Another nice run on first down. It's a first down for Taylor. And he is so slippery, and even more so now with the rain coming down.
And I wouldn't necessarily even say slippery. Look at the foundation of his footwork. He's never off balance at all, even when he's shifted. See, his center of gravity is right over his toes, and he is never in a situation where he's stumbling or fumbling down the football field.
He has sprinter speed, runs the 4x100 for the Wisconsin track team. And that's where he gets a lot of his great footwork from. And there he goes again. Goodbye, touchdown, Jonathan Taylor. 48 yards to the house, his 5th touchdown today. There's that track speed. He shifted into another gear as he got into the secondary.
I wondered if Paul Chryst was going to bring him out. And sometimes pro coaches do this. They want to see how people respond coming out of a halftime. He just explodes here. He passes Melvin Gordon on the way into the end zone for his 5th touchdown of the day, the 4th rushing one for Jonathan Taylor.
Colin Larsch with the point after. 35-0 Wisconsin now. 2 plays is all Wisconsin needs when they give it to their Heisman candidate running back Jonathan Taylor. Now 186 yards rushing and 5 total. Jonathan Taylor's face, and he should have one. 5 total touchdowns today. He moves into 3rd place on Wisconsin's all-time rushing list, as you talked about, Ryan, going ahead of Melvin Gordon. And with that jacket on now, does that give you the impression he might be done for the day?
Yeah, I hope so. I just got a text from my little brother who's watching, said, get that kid out of the game.
He wears number 23 because former Houston Texan Arian Foster did, and that's the guy he watched and admired the most. For more, let's go down to Kark.
Let's hope that raincoat is waterproof because it's dumping right now. Jonathan Taylor, the story with 5 touchdowns, but how about the Wisconsin defense? I spoke to Sean Lewis, the Kent State coach. He said, wow, those guys have brought the heat. They're playing really well on the edges with their defensive ends in terms of just getting pressure on his quarterback. Said they need to run the ball. It's really hard to pass the ball when the corners are locking down and the DNs have that kind of rush. And Chris Orr has been magnificent. We've seen him in the first half. Ryan, you mentioned he was an under-the-radar recruit. Gets into the Wisconsin program in terms of the strength and conditioning. Guy squats 6'10" now.
Oh, my. Yeah, it's kind of rained on Sean Lewis's homecoming, literally and figuratively.
Did he just say 610 pounds?
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. Good elusiveness there by Crum, but then he gets hit along the sideline by Faion Hicks. And we've got another 3rd down and fairly long situation for Kent State.
You know, Jim Leonard really talked about how him playing safety and him playing in the backfield has really helped his corners, his safeties who contribute as well.
Penalty flags. It'll be a false start.
You know, not more evident than it was right there.
Offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
You know, you really watch the corners also get up there and make contributions in the tackling game. You don't see a lot of corners do that. They don't want to stick their noses in there. If you got that guy right there as your defensive coordinator, you're going to go out and try to make him proud every week by making tackles defensively, especially in the defensive backfield.
Crum going to be sacked again. Chris Orr, number 54. Wrapped him up, and then Sanborn had to come in and clean it up. That is the 7th tackle for loss today for this Wisconsin defense, and another punting situation for Kent State.
You know, those types of things where a quarterback gets out of your grasp, that's because of the result of those penalties that happen. You know, you can't be too rough with the quarterback, so you don't throw him to the ground. Instead, he shakes loose, and the rest of his team's there, luckily, to pile on.
Now, Leonard has been really good at dialing up the pressure at the right time. He's a good tactician as a defensive coordinator. It is muffed. Jack Dunn, who muffed a punt last week, is able to recover for Wisconsin. 48-yard punt, no return, 12:21 to go here in the 3rd. That is not easy when the rain is coming down into your face mask. A lot of hang time, and you got punt coverage bearing down on you, but Dunn is able to cover it up, and Wisconsin will have it when we come back to Madison. This week, I wouldn't schedule anyone from California right now. If they have different rules than we do, then all of a sudden they're not amateurs. Your thoughts?
It makes sense. There needs to be a governing body over what controls all this, and that is the NCAA. And to hear them kind of come out and rally against it so hard, they need to be up front here, take the lead, because this is coming, right? It's coming, and that's going to be the issue, that there's a governing body, and that's what Barry Alvarez is trying to say there here. Unless the rules are the same for everybody, we can't just be scheduling something with somebody who can't be there or be a part of what we're doing.
We got penalty markers on the field. Yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen. It just seems like everything's been sped up because of the California law going into place. Let's get the call here.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Illegal shift, offense, 2 players moving without a reset. Personal foul, face mask, number 4 of the defense. Those penalties will offset. Replay, first down.
The law doesn't go into effect until 2023. But everything has been sped up because it seems like other states are going to follow suit with California.
Right. I thought immediately, like, Nick Saban's going to run to the governor's office and say, hey, let's get this into law. You watched Florida do something this week, and then in the state of Ohio, Gonzalez put in a bill to do exactly the same thing, and that one's sped up more around the 2020 area. There's going to have to be something done unilaterally in governance, or it's just going to be a free-for-all.
Nakia Watson with that first down carry out to the 42-yard line. We're going to probably see a heavy dose of Watson and Bradrick Shaw, maybe even Brady Shipper out of that Wisconsin backfield as this game carries on. Rolling out Cone, wide open is Cephas. Tries to hurdle a defender and is toppled at the 45-yard line. Cephas out of Macon, Georgia. Knocked down by Jamal Parker.
Cephas is the most physical yet most explosive player. He shows both here. Catches the football, jumps over Jamal Parker, shows his physicality and that explosiveness as he leaps the defender, gets him to a first down.
13-yard reception. Cone now 11 of 14 passing, 132 yards. As Watson will take it right up the middle for a handful. You know, Jack Cone hasn't had to stretch the field a lot this year, Ryan. At some point, he's going to be needed to.
You know, I don't necessarily know if that's the truth, the way they run the offense. They may have to ask him just to get some guys off the football if they're loading the box with 8. But right now, what they do inside this scheme, if he just goes and throws those little, 8-yard, 10-yard outs, I don't necessarily know if that's going to be needed to stretch the field. But that's not against an Ohio State yet.
And of course, you've got that guy to lean on to start, Jonathan Taylor, who appears that his day is over. He's got 5 total touchdowns today. It's Watson with the run. Nakia Watson, the product of Westlake High School in Austin, Texas. He's got the first down. They are really excited about number 14's future.
He looks the part.
Yep. 5'11", 229 pounds. Solid. The thing is, can Jack Cone stretch the field if you needed him to?
I'd like to see it. So to your point, I'd like to see it maybe more. Here's an
maybe
opportunity.
here's an opportunity on cue to the end zone. Deflected away, incomplete, and a flag comes in. Elvis Hines trying to break that up.
Defense, number 8. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot includes automatic first down.
Just gets his hand in there, runs into him. The ball was underthrown. To your point, Clay, there was an opportunity. Look at all the field he has across the end zone to throw that football. He doesn't have to lay it short there. He can just let his receiver prior go and get it. And that would have been the idea, what you were talking about, extending that football down the football field. Instead, because it was underthrown, Hines makes the penalty, and they get the first down in the red zone.
15-yard penalty puts it in the red zone, and it's Watson on the run. The red zone has been good to Wisconsin, not just today, but throughout the season. And when you have the ground game that runs behind that impressive offensive line, you would expect it would be good in the red zone, and indeed Wisconsin is.
Watson there really looks like he invites some contact, where Jonathan Taylor really kind of, gets away from it, bounces in and out. But Watson invites some of that contact and kind of gives back the punishment himself.
4 touchdowns on 4 red zone trips. In fact, every series today, Wisconsin has a touchdown. This is their 6th possession. Get it inside the 5. And now it looks like the ball may have come loose. Kent State is fighting for it. And the Badgers were able to recover, it appears. Akeem Peters knocked it loose. So it's 1st down and goal to go, Wisconsin.
Okay, raining, cold, freshman, first time playing, really kind of gets hit on the elbow, on the funny bone, we call it, and ball pops out. Wisconsin jolly on the spot, picks it up, keeps the ball in their possession, sets up 1st and goal from the 3-yard line.
They'll bring in Bradrick Shaw as Watson heads to the sideline after the fumble. Play fake to Shaw. They'll lob it to the end zone. Ferguson, did he hang on? Yes, touchdown. Ferguson with an acrobatic catch. And the tight end from right here in Madison, Wisconsin, puts 6 more up for the Badgers.
Great play action fake by Cone, hides the football and then finds Ferguson, who's pretty well covered, but he puts it in the exact spot. Ferguson goes up with one hand, brings it back in. The officials did a good job of communicating with one another that, yes, he caught the football, and yes, his feet were in bounds.
The number 2 receiver on the team last year, Jake Ferguson, is solid tight end. Just a sophomore. Went to Memorial High School just down the road here in Madison. I'm taking a long look at it upstairs, but every indication is that it's going to be the first touchdown of the year for Ferguson. Good touch from Cone,
No,
too.
it was really well done and well placed, allowing him to go up and get it and make the play.
And here's Larsh with the point after. And it's no good. But there is a penalty flag on the PAT. Let's see if Wisconsin gets another chance here.
Holding. Offense. Number 99. That penalty will be declined. The extra point is no good.
Isaiah Mullins with the holding penalty, so no point after. It'll be 41-0 Wisconsin with just over 8 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Jake Ferguson from
on NFL Primetime. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is an interesting situation, too. I didn't know that announcers like Tom Jackson could get hurt doing what he does, but apparently that's happened.
Well, when you're with Boomer, that could be interesting with those two.
Big lead for Wisconsin. Kent State trying to get it back and get something going on offense. Being shut out right now. All right, so TJ has an Achilles injury, and Ryan Clark has been called out of the reserves to fill in with Boomer on NFL Primetime tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN Plus. All the highlights and breakdowns from today's games, plus Scott Van Pelt and Joe Tessitore along for the fun. To get ESPN Plus, download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. We wish Tom a speedy recovery. I mean, that Achilles injuries, they're painful. But this is unique. Slant, Woody Barrett, the quarterback, in the game now, completes the pass. And that is the longest play of the day for Kent State. It's Raymond James on the reception. Woody Barrett is in there now, the former Auburn Tiger.
Good play action fake, and he just comes up and puts the ball on the receiver.
There's a gain of 28 yards. Now Joshin Bangda carries ahead for another first down for Kent State as they want to move with tempo. They haven't been able to do it much today. Dustin Crum started the game at quarterback, and now our first Woody Barrett sighting.
Well, we're going to have a lot of newbies and sightings here now that this game has kind of been put to bed from Wisconsin standpoint.
Barrett will keep it and run. And he'll get very little. He started all 12 games last year for Kent State. Dual threat quarterback and over 2,800 yards of total offense last year, 18 total touchdowns. He's a capable guy. But Dustin Crum has won the job as the starter. That's incomplete. Caesar Williams in on the coverage. Sean Lewis was talking to you and I about Woody Barrett. You know, he just was outworked, I guess, a little bit in the camp.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything against what Woody Barrett had done. It was just that Dustin Crum had just won the job.
They dump it off to Bangda. And he's going to be hit for a loss by Caesar Williams, the corner. Only the second time in Wisconsin territory today for Kent State, but this drive is going to result in a long field goal attempt, perhaps. Yep, they're going to bring out the kicker, Matthew Trickett. He came out early in the first half and lined up for what was going to be a 56-yard field goal attempt, but then they changed their mind and he pooch punted, and it rolled into the end zone. This will be a 52-yard strike if he can get it to go in. Out of the hold of Derek Adams, and is it long enough? No, it is short. Off the crossbar. It is not a returnable play off the crossbar, much to the chagrin of the Wisconsin faithful. Eric Burrell was ready to run it out of the end zone. Can't do that. But I'll tell you, this was a great effort by Trickett.
It'd have been good from 51.
So the shutout is still intact for the Badgers. Trickett was ready to go make that tackle. Did you see that?
He was ready to celebrate and then ready to go make the tackle.
So now Wisconsin's going to make a quarterback change as well. Graham Mertz, the true freshman, is in the game. And Badger fans, I'm sure, are excited to see this guy. Shaw on that carry. Kid out of Overland Park, Kansas. Great arm talent for Graham Mertz. One of the biggest recruits at this position in Wisconsin history.
Yeah, that was the biggest takeaway from Coach Rudolph was what's the first thing that sticks out to you about Graham Mertz, and he said his arm talent. And then followed it up by saying he has some humility and wants to learn and get better.
The penalty against Wisconsin.
Illegal snap. Offense. Number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Let's go down to Kark.
Clay, actually the highest rated quarterback ever to sign with Wisconsin, from Kansas. His family had a lake house in Wisconsin. He grew up a Badger fan, and this kid, like you said, has huge arm talent. It's all about learning the playbook, and when you see him in here, this is the second game of the season. You have the 4-game redshirt rule. So putting Graham Mertz in here, they want to have him get some quality minutes in this ball game.
He was looking to throw on this play, but decides to run after there was nothing downfield. He's going to pick up about 9 yards on that run. Just short of the first down. Matt Barr, the inside linebacker, able to make the tackle.
Kark talked about the redshirt rule, and we last week talked about how it's been used differently at Houston and Nevada. Here's a perfect example of how to use it. Maybe get Graham Mertz some real solid experience in 4 football games and then still save a year of eligibility through the process.
He'll hand off to the fullback, Mason Stockey, and that'll keep this drive alive. First down for Wisconsin. And Mertz made his debut against Central Michigan in week 2 after what was a really good spring. And you know how important it is, Ryan, for these kids now to enroll early and get in for that spring practice. Mertz was able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Never even dawned on us back, 22 years ago to actually do something like that. Graduate early, come here, go through a spring, and really compete for the job when fall camp came about.
Rolling out, thrown across his body. Mertz right on the screws, gets it into Kent State territory to the 48. And it's Adam Krumholz on the catch, Kark.
One rated quarterback in the ESPN 300.
Yeah.
He committed to Wisconsin early. After he committed, his stock really blew up. Every SEC school, virtually every big school in the country wanted this kid. But because of his love of the Badgers, he stayed true to his commitment.
Yeah, it's great to see. And he's getting a chance, probably a lot of time here in this game because there's still over 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Hands off to Chanel there. Another third down and short coming up for Wisconsin. So Graham Mertz, the backup quarterback to Jack Cohn in the game. Cohn had a pretty good day. 12 of 15, 134 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns.
Another day at the office for a Wisconsin quarterback. He's going to be tested.
Chanel, powerful fullback straight ahead, the Grantsburg, Wisconsin native, and they'll move the chains again. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Tonight, 7:30 Eastern, number 25, Michigan State. Number 4, Ohio State in Columbus. Should be good.
Well, I hope people think it's going to be good. Ohio State's been maybe the best football team so far this season. They haven't necessarily played anybody. They played an upstart Nebraska team last week. Michigan State will be another test.
Mertz airing it out again, and he's complete again to the 22-yard line. Krumholz, his second catch on this drive. That's a gain of 14.
Wonderful job of staying tall in the pocket and then having enough touch to get that out over the linebacker to pick up the first down.
Krumholz, a senior from Stoughton, Wisconsin.
Good job with his eyes. And then he was big and tall and stayed on top of that football right over the linebacker that gets the first down. Accurate and some touch from the freshman.
Watson again in the backfield. They'll feed it to him. Nakia Watson. Good power. Had somebody around his knees and still moved forward and drove the second tackler back a yard or so. And that's going to be about 5 yards on first down.
He invites the physicality here and drives their linebacker back into the backfield. He gets up a little gimpy after that, though.
And Watson comes off. Shaw back in. Shaw, the senior who missed all of last year with an ACL injury. And on the sweep, Crookshank will get it inside the 15-yard line. It's going to be short of the first down marker, so third down, and we'll call it a yard.
You know, Joe Rudolph's got to be pretty happy with how, of course, the first half and the beginning of the second half started, but he really wanted to get the ball into some of these younger players. Aaron Crookshank, one of them. He's already seen him with the football a few times on this drive, so Joe Rudolph's going to have a measuring stick here when he goes later into the season, whether they put him in the football games. Wisconsin
converting 90% of their third down opportunities today. They do it again. They got the first down and more. John Chanel. Another carry for a fullback. First down, goal to go, Wisconsin. They are now 10 of 11 on third down. And it's time to jump around. And these fans should. It has been a fun morning and early afternoon for Badger fans. 41-0 Wisconsin.
Of pain for Kent State, though, today.
And a lot of opponents over the years. Here we go to the fourth quarter, all Wisconsin. As the backups leading this drive inside the 5-yard line. Wisconsin has been good in the red zone all year, especially today. Bradrick Shaw, the senior out of Birmingham, is the lone setback behind Mertz. Graham Mertz will give it to Jack Dunn, and that's a touchdown, Wisconsin. Another Madison native, Jack Dunn.
5'7", redshirt junior with the end around. Excited.
So the jump around and then the end around.
Well played, Clay.
That's how you start the fourth quarter in Madison. All 7 Wisconsin scoring drives have been 60 or more yards. The last extra point was missed by Colin Larsh. This one is true. And there's a marker on the field. I think a lot of our penalty flags today have been on special teams plays. It's going to go against Kent State. Jack Dunn, first touchdown of the year. We talked about the schedule for
Running in the
Wisconsin.
kicker, defense. That penalty will be declined. Extra point is good.
And 14:57 to go at rainy Camp Randall Stadium. 48-0 Badgers. Poised to go to 5-0 on the year with the meat of their Big Ten schedule lying ahead. We've already got a couple of Big Ten wins and appear to be the favorite in the Big Ten West. I mean, the Iowa fans would like to argue that. Maybe even some Minnesota fans would argue that, as Kent State will have it at 25 again. There are some big games remaining for Wisconsin for sure. You talk about Michigan State coming in here next week, but ESPN's FBI has them favored in every remaining game except at Ohio State on October 26th.
That's a significantly low one. A low percentage there, too, 16%. And I think they are very capable defensively. I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do in situations where they're going against up-tempo teams like Ohio State, if they can grind it out like they have today.
Woody Barrett on the run. A good one. He's going to be just short of the first down. But, yeah, you look at the schedule. The last victory against Ohio State for Wisconsin, 2010. And they haven't beaten the Buckeyes in Columbus, which is where the game is this year, since 2004. But that's the one that I think a lot of people are looking at that could decide, you know, whether this is a college football playoff year for the Wisconsin Badgers.
It's going to tell us a lot, right? They play them during the regular season this year. They usually met up with them in the Big Ten championship, but this year we're going to find out during the regular season. And what's been Wisconsin's problem is they've been great. They've been able to go through the West. They've been able to do their thing, but when they had to get into those big battles against the top opponents, they haven't been able to get it done. And their hope is that Jack Cohn is the difference maker in that, because we know what they're going to do offensively when they run the football. It's a matter of what they can do down the football field with the quarterback position.
All right, so 5 weeks into the season, you're looking at this Wisconsin team. You've seen them in person now. You know, granted, maybe they haven't played the toughest part of their schedule yet, but where could you potentially poke a hole in Wisconsin's game?
Well, you know,
there's a penalty flag coming out as there was some contact in the secondary. Ball batted down. Dante Burton, number 17, in on that coverage. We'll get this call, and then we'll get your comment.
Pass interference, defense, number 17. Spot foul, includes automatic first down.
You know, I talk about the question mark being Jack Cohn, and I just don't know if they can do it in this day and age in these types of offenses without being able to be explosive in the pass game. That's the only thing that's held them back, I feel like. But maybe because of the defense and with what the defense does and scores points themselves, maybe that's a different Wisconsin football team this season.
Yeah, maybe a different formula. You bet.
The ball should be placed at the spot of the foul, right hash mark.
So they put it on the right hash at the 50-yard line. First down at 10 for Kent State. Jim Leonard's defense pitching another shutout. They've already got 2 shutouts this year against South Florida and Central Michigan. This play is going nowhere. Yeah, the rallying to the football has been so impressive by the Wisconsin defense, by the starters and by the backups. That's Mascalunas. Mike Mascalunas, the inside linebacker who made that hit.
Yeah, he's following in the footsteps of Chris Orr. And if you remember when Chris said it's the mindset of this defense was everybody gets a piece. And that's about rallying to the football.
Take it to the wide side of the field for Antoine Dixon, the fifth-year senior. Alexander Smith pushes him out of bounds about 3 yards shy of a first. Let's go back to that list of categories that this defense leads the country in, or where they're in the top 10. Points allowed, total yards, yards per play, rushing defense, third down defense. I mean, the list goes on, and those numbers are going to only be bolstered after today.
Well, when you can get guys off the football field on third down, which they've been so successful at, all those other statistics that are rolling through, that's the reason why they're at the top there, because they're just not playing any more plays because they're off the football field and their offense is taking up a ton of time and putting up points themselves.
Woody Barrett tiptoes the sideline. He gets the first down and more, and this might be the best scoring chance of the day for Kent State, and they've got Woody Barrett running the offense now, the Auburn transfer from Orlando, Florida. If Kent State can get on the scoreboard, that would be an accomplishment, even against the reserves of Wisconsin's defense. Barrett over the middle, and it's out of the hands of the receiver and up in the air momentarily, lands incomplete. Keyshawn Abram helped up off the turf, can't come up with the catch.
Torchio's back there just kind of surveying in the free look, and he made a big hit there.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Kent State. Oh, that was miscommunicated. He was looking for Abram. Abram hadn't turned around yet. And the land's incomplete, third down. Jim Leonard, you know, he's going to be a head coach if he wants to be someday. You know, the NFL may even come calling as good of a defensive coach as he is. Just 36 years old, from Ladysmith, Wisconsin. Thought he was going to play baseball in college. Ended up coming to Wisconsin as a walk-on defensive player. Turns into an All-American. Plays 10 years in the NFL. Ball's loose. It's scooped up. Look out. Out to midfield. Leo Chanel, the true freshman from Grantsburg, Wisconsin. First turnover of the game, and it's another takeaway for this Wisconsin defense. The Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year last year sets Wisconsin up with great field position.
Is mayhem.
Kent State's been in the red zone just one time today, and they can't turn it into points as Woody Barrett fumbles and Leo Chanel recovers. Wisconsin's defense has been great today. It's been great all season. Thought for a second there, Rhino, that Leo was going to take it back for more defensive points, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, he bumbled and stumbled his way, and I wanted him to score there so we could have that stat to talk about. They would have been in a position where they've scored more points than they have allowed this season as a defensive unit, and that's got to make Jim Leonard super pleased.
Just over 12 minutes to go. More reserves in the game now for Wisconsin. It's Brady Schipper, his first touch, the redshirt freshman running back. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, no more. Talked a lot today about Jim Leonard. Great story. Wisconsin native, of course. Walked on in 2001 here. Became a 3-time All-American safety. And at 5'8", he was considered undersized. Went undrafted, but still managed a 10-year NFL career. And, of course, has become a very successful coach here at Wisconsin.
Perfect example, guys out there playing football. Get your foot in the door. Believe in yourself. I got drafted 2nd overall and played 4 seasons. He's an undrafted rookie, gets into the league, works his tail off. It's about the journey when you get there. Jim Leonhard plays it in 10 years with some really good football teams, learned a lot defensively, and then later in his career, he became a mentor to the young guys coming in. That kind of led the way for him to think he was going to get into coaching when it was all said and done.
Yeah, he's got the makeup for it. And you see the way this defense plays, they kind of take on some of his personality. Having met him now, I can see why this team is so successful on that side of the ball.
I think the best teams and the ones that we've got the opportunity to call this year, you really see those that play well identify with their head coach.
Ball's loose. Crookshank had it pop out of his arms. Loose along that far sideline. Wisconsin tried to recover it. Kent State says they have it. And indeed they do. And it's the first takeaway today for the Kent State defense. And Sean Lewis knows his team's down 48 points, but they're still playing hard.
No, they're playing hard. They're playing fast. Flash fast. That's what Coach Lewis talked to us about. Their motto. It's an acronym, FAST. Fun, accountability, smart, and toughness. And here, late in the football game,
The ruling on the field is a catch, fumble, and a recovery by the defense.
Now they're still playing hard. Mario Nunez knocked it out, and Kent State recovers with 10:36 to go. No commercial. We're going to stay here.
I can sell you something.
Give me your best pitch. What do you got?
Well,
We still haven't done leaflets yet. Maybe we can do that in a minute. You can sell us on whatever you're thinking in
I'll
that
sell you.
regard.
I'll sell you on something there.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for Sean Lewis and his Kent State Golden Flashes third-year head coach, former Wisconsin Badger. But they get a takeaway.
You see the reaction when the big play happened there for him? The sideline was excited. They've been in the football game even though they've been beaten thoroughly.
Just the 5th turnover all year for the Wisconsin Badgers. As Shaw takes it across the 45-yard line to the 47. Sean Lewis. We talked about Paul Chryst being his offensive coordinator and position coach when he was here. Came to Wisconsin as a quarterback, but moved to tight end. Played mostly special teams. But he spent 6 years under Dino Babers at Bowling Green in Syracuse. That's where he really learned the coaching craft. But look at that baby face when he was here at Wisconsin. Now, of course, it's all covered in hair.
Well, when you start to lose it on top, you probably grow it a little bit more on the face just to feel better, and I get it. I understand.
He is an energetic young coach, just 33 years old, the youngest in the FBS. Barrett elusive, but not enough to get away from the pressure of Leo Chanel, who, of course, recovered the fumble on the last Kent State series. He brings Woody Barrett down to the turf, and it's going to force another 4th down and another punting situation for the Flashes.
That guy is a true freshman, Clay. Look at the arms on him. The physical maturity of freshmen coming in to college football is, it blows my mind. They are so much more ready to play this game than any of us were 25 years ago coming in as a freshman.
Leo Chanel, the younger brother of the fullback John Chanel. So after the 9th sack of the day for the Badger defense, this is punt number 6 for Derek Adams. And it's returnable for Dunn. And he'll get it to the 20-yard line, maybe the 21. 8:45 to go here in Madison. Big lead for the number 8 team in the country. Twins, Yankees, Rays, Astros. Game 2 breakdowns, as well as UFC 243 post-fight coverage. Sports Center after football on ESPN and the app. A lot of playing time for the backup quarterback, Mertz. And it's Brady Schipper, also a backup in the running back corps, carrying it straight ahead for 6. Let's go to leaflets. Ryan, what do you got?
Well, I got the great opportunity this week to go to Dallas and take part in the college football playoff mock committee and learn about the procedure, how everybody votes. And I was really surprised to hear that you just can't go in with an agenda, because your voice is pushed out of the room if it's not a collective thing, right? 7 people ultimately may decide who is in the top 4. And that surprised me a little bit, because we always talked about the 13 individuals.
All right, so if you had to make a decision today, this is what you've come up with as far as who's in?
Yeah.
So explain yourself, young man.
Clemson, I feel that they are the best football team in America. They get everybody's best shot every week. They're the defending national champion. When it's all said and done, they're number 1. Ohio State at number 2, Big Ten champs. The SEC champ's going to come in 3rd, whoever that's going to be, maybe with 1 loss. Oklahoma at 4. Jalen Hurts has been stupendous this year. And then, unfortunately for the Pac-12 conference, Oregon outside looking in at number 5 and 6. The SEC champion, or the SEC championships loser of that football game, I think, will be at 6, rounding that out.
Jack Dunn with that catch. Graham Mertz. So you got the Big Ten at number 2 in Ohio State. Of course, if Wisconsin were to knock off Ohio State on the 26th, maybe you put the Badgers in that college football playoff.
If they go to the Horseshoe and knock off the number, who knows, the number 3, number 4, number 2 team in the country at that time, yes, they are right there. They're going to have to play them most likely again in the Big Ten championship to ultimately get into the college football playoff. But yeah, if this football team's capable of going to the Horseshoe and beating this Ohio State football team that has looked spectacular through 5 weeks, they are in the conversation, and they're a team that could make a difference when the tournament starts.
A lot could happen between now and then, but when we talked to Paul Chryst yesterday, he said, you know, looking ahead to this Kent State game, I'm not even thinking about Michigan State or further down the line to Ohio State. I just want to see our team come out here and play well against Kent State. And the consistency which we have seen through the first 4 games has played out again here today against the Golden Flashes, as Stocky picks up another first down for the Badgers.
He wants to see a style of play, and we have seen it today. You know, there is absolutely no compromise versus anyone they play. It's about today, and a lot of it's coach speak, but you see it here on the football field. So it just can't be coach speak. It's been imprinted on his players, and they've shown out in the performance against Kent State today.
Here's Shaw diving to the 50-yard line. We have seen 5 running backs today. Of course, Jonathan Taylor, very impressive, the Heisman candidate. He had 19 carries for 186 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 3 catches and a receiving touchdown. But if you're averaging almost 10 yards per carry, that's saying something.
You know, Joe Rudolph told us that. Like, he's had to do something differently. Sometimes he's had to throw on first down because otherwise they're not getting the throws in, because he carries for a first down every time he touches the football.
You're not allowing us to get our passing work in, Jonathan. Bradford Shaw stood up at the 49-yard line of Kent State. Now, Kent State, meanwhile, you look at their schedule, and they have played essentially a Power 5 schedule. So the numbers today, again, not great for Kent State, but they are already 1-0 in the MAC. And out of the 6 teams better, that would be a great improvement for a team that has finished last the last couple of years. Mertz is going to be sacked at the 48-yard line of Wisconsin. And Jabbar Price, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio, able to bring Mertz down. That's the first sack for the Flashes.
The young freshman will learn and understand that in that moment he became like a deer in the headlights instead of finding his check down guy. that's why you get the opportunity to play in these situations, to learn from that. Sean Lewis still bringing some different looks and competing.
The driest man in the stadium, the punter. First punt today for Wisconsin, and it's the backup, Connor Allen. He dumps it inside the 20 at the 15-yard line. 3:35 to go here in Madison. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. See if Kent State can get some points as they start this drive. Joe Schobert, the great linebacker, once at Wisconsin, now maybe one of the better inside linebackers in the NFL, playing for the Cleveland Browns. They've had some great linebackers. They've had some great running backs come through Wisconsin. And that tradition continues, as evidenced by today.
Bond, Orr, Sanborn, and Burks, they're right in the shadow of the Watt brothers and what they do and how. My biggest takeaway today, Clay, has been the speed on defense.
Yes.
You know, you think in the Big Ten it's kind of a physical type of grind it out. No, they are fast off the edges. They are fast at the linebacker position. That's going to play into a lot when they have to play teams like Ohio State in 3 weeks. You know, they have to go to Minnesota for the final game of the year. Minnesota, especially the skill positions, have looked fast. So
Barrett trying to convert on third down and can't do it. Incomplete. That sailed high for Barrett. That's been one of his problems this year. That's why he is no longer the starter. And so now it's fourth down, and here comes the punting unit. Just 2 third down conversions today for Kent State. They put up 62 points and 750 yards against Bowling Green in their last game, but no points today. And just 124 yards of offense. And Derek Adams' leg is about to fall out. I mean, this is punt number 7. It's going to take a Kent State bounce. And Wisconsin's offense will be able to work out the rest of this game. As you look at the Wisconsin schedule, Michigan State coming in here next week, number 25 in the country, at least for this week, and then at Illinois and the big one in Columbus on October 26th.
that one for them is meaningful, yes, because they're going to get a good, clear picture of where they're at. But for them and the West, it's Iowa, it's Nebraska, it's Purdue, and then it's at Minnesota to finish the season. That, you know, win your division, get into the Big Ten championship, win the conference, and you're going to be looked at from the College Football Playoff Committee.
Jack Cohn, he is going to go to 7-2 as the Badgers starter. And they're going to still be critics of his game, but with what he is asked to do and the results, there shouldn't be too many negatives.
Didn't turn the football over today. His completion percentage goes up. He throws another touchdown. I mean, he's doing everything he's being asked to do offensively. The question is going to be when he's got to do some extraordinary things that sometimes the quarterback position is asked to do. That's going to be the big answer for me. And I think the big first test is, you know, going to be next week against Michigan State. He passed the test against Michigan, but they've blown him out by so many so early on that whole Ohio State game in Columbus is going to teach us a lot about Jack Cohn and this Wisconsin Badger football team.
Another carry for Shipper. And that's going to do it, I believe. 48-0, Wisconsin. third shutout of the year for this Badgers defense. Wisconsin will be 5-0 going into that game against Michigan State here next week. And Paul Chryst and Sean Lewis, a couple of old friends. Even after getting shut out, Lewis has a smile on his face. A Badger for life. Wasn't a good day for his flashes, but smiles down on that field. A lot of respect between Chryst and Lewis for sure. Wisconsin held the ball for over 40 minutes today, Ryan. So impressive. And, of course, Jonathan Taylor, legitimate Heisman candidate, 186 rushing, 5 total touchdowns. And that defense suffocating.
Jonathan Taylor did nothing today but embellish his Heisman chances. You said yesterday you only used the letter. You said the H word because you didn't want to jinx anything. But this offense allows Jonathan Taylor now being more part of the passing game, making it more difficult for defenses to stop, and puts himself right in the Heisman conversation.